sunny, attractively, just a beautiful sunrise. The moon we will be discussing in a moment, and it's 31.5 degrees with currently 1 mile an hour wind. So allegedly up to 40 degrees today. If there's any last chores to do today and tomorrow, will be the more comfortable days to complete them. Let me pause for any emergency traffic. All licensed amateur radio operators are invited to check in at the proper time, and we welcome you to the net. The question of the day is, speaking of the beautiful moon, it's there in the evening and in the morning. Well, presumably it's there the whole time. We can see it illuminated very beautifully in the morning and evening. And apparently the Native Americans refer to this as a beaver moon. This was a new term to me this year, referring to the time of year when beavers are busy little beavers putting their lodges together to hibernate. The question of the day is, have you ever spotted a beaver on your property? Or have you ever seen one not in a zoo? And for that matter, just brought up porcupine. We still haven't seen one of those toddling around. So it's Beaver and Porcupine Day for questions. Are there any mobile short-time check-ins? Please come next.
W9ARZ.
W9OBB.
But I think it was YJH in and out. You have 20 seconds to make that transmission. Just tell us how you are, what you're doing. Hey, Craig Mennett, in and out. So the three I have are ARZ, OBB, and UPE. Anyone else? I hope the accident got cleared away for you yesterday, not involving you, by the way. And the next two guys have a good time going down, I think, to Oshkosh, maybe. All right, Kevin, Rick, Brad, go ahead.
John K9KMA, this is KA9ARZ. A very good morning to all. Final day of November, so tomorrow would be the start of the 12 days of Jeff, and hopefully instead of a partridge in a pear tree, you can get a buzzkill to start things up to get rid of the buzzing that shows up on occasion there. So anyways, thank you, Jim. I've been on the net when I had a beaver sight when I was up in International Falls coming in by Echolingas out fishing, saw beaver swimming along the water there at least one time there. So they're kind of prevalent up near the U.S. Canadian border back way back when, centuries ago, like these French explorers, they kind of made their livelihood by trading in beaver pelts there as they canoed through the area. So anyways, process of heading off for work today. Should be some balmy type conditions there, I guess, for this time of year. And 40 degrees there, so we see how much of the little bit of snow we have melt off as the day progresses. So let's find out if Rick is going to be on hand Sunday night with Taylor Swift, maybe part of the Tundra drum line there. W9OBB, this is KA9ARZ. Good morning.
Thanks, Kevin. I don't know where you come up with those things, but I don't think I'll be drumming Sunday night. I don't know. No one has called, and I'm not going to go out to dinner with Taylor Swift before festivities again. So it looks like I'm going to be excluded from all of that stuff that's going on. But maybe later on sometime. Okay, good morning from Green Bay, W9OBE. And Joan, thanks for picking up the net. And yes, up in Vilas County, where we used to have a cabin up there, up in Manitowish Waters. I've seen quite a few of the porcupines, and I've seen quite a few of the beavers. They used to block off half the river there, and they were definitely busy. But I've seen a lot of them. Not recently, but years ago I certainly did. And Joan is correct. I'm off this morning. Sue and I are going to head out here in a little bit. We're going to meet up for breakfast down in Appleton. And then Kramer and I, that's my son-in-law's dad, we're going to go to the EAA museum. But first we're going to visit a couple of my daughter and son-in-law's Airbnb houses that they have down there that they've done some work on. So we're going to go and visit those and get a look at those. And then we're going to head over to the EAA. So looking forward to a fun-filled day. And I was hoping my brother Brad could come along, the next one up on the list here, but he's ailing or suffering from some arthritis and joint pain, I think. So we'll turn it over to him. So 89 UPE, this is W9OBE. Good morning to all. I hope you all have a fantastic day.
W9OBB, this is KD9UPE. Good morning, Brother Rick. And thank you, Joan, and my apologies for transferring personal information around. I'm not taking up that time, but I am forced to do so this morning. I knew we'd be going here early and we were going to be heading out, but I'm not going to make it. I tried some muscle relaxing last night and it feels a little better, but still tight through the area that's scary that I could get as bad as last year. If I don't rest it, but I couldn't make an appointment to see anybody yesterday, so I'm going to make an attempt to go see somebody, a specialist, this afternoon. No beaver or porcupine around out of the Conservancy, but we did run into a couple of raccoon one time, and a lady chased them up a tree, but when one of them came back down and quit claw up and challenged her, she just looked at me like, what do I do now? So that was our first couple of this way ladies with ladybugs, and she didn't like the look of having to take on that raccoon too much. So back to you then, Joan, KD9KMA, this is KD9UPE.
Gentlemen, safe travels and have a good time at your various destinations. Kevin is exactly right. Tomorrow starts the 12 Days of Jeff celebration. As you may have heard, and I know Alan has not, with a birthday on December 12th, he would often get short trips, and I started this a few years ago, and the biggest challenge as the years go by is finding something unique for each of the 12 days that will be a small present in honor of his wonderfulness. Well, yesterday the doorbell rang. It was the delivery guy with the perfectly mundane, sorry to say this over the air at breakfast, toilet seat covers. Nothing says holiday time like just doing some random shopping. And so I told him I was going to put that under the tree for his birthday, and he was unamused, I tell you. So that's enough of that. Off we go to over-the-air check-ins. There are 3 on Echolink. We'll get to you in a second. Over the air, please come now.
This is Kilo Alpha Niner, Whiskey Alpha Romeo, K9 in the XG.
K9, UUB. KA9TQC.
Alpha Bravo 9, November.
that over the airwaves. KA9WAR, KA9BXG, W9UUB, N9OSF, excuse me, KA9DQC over the air, and AB9NN. Did I miss anyone?
Control, Kilo Charlie 9, Lima November Zulu. Really? Toilet seat? Wow.
Double with Tom. Luke, sometimes you're short-time crosslink. Are you today? I will assume not short-time for Tom. You send it over to Luke at the end of the list, and the beginning of the list will be K9GU. Good morning, Michelle. And then you send it to KB9DIP, Larry. KB9DIP. And Larry, you know who, over to G1AEU. So good morning to you all. Then, AEU, you send it to KA9WAR. So good morning, Michelle and Judy.
Thank you very much. Good morning, John. 59 KMA, that control. Listen to Kilo 9 Golf from in Appleton in here, where the sky is practically clear and blue in here. Temperature is a little higher than yesterday. Now it's 28, equivalent to -2 Celsius, which is a little warmer than yesterday. And the pressure is 29 decimal 8.5, having going up a little bit since yesterday in here. So it's going to be a nice day. Yesterday, actually, we had a quite a long ride in here, and the driving actually was very nice. Pure sky, very nice. The traffic was not too heavy, and it was enjoyable to look at what we saw along the road and so on the way to getting our haircut in here, both of us, Judy and I in here. So we had a nice haircut in addition to a nice looking weather also. So these were the big events yesterday in here. No big plans today, so I'm sure we'll see some things to see and do later on today in here. Anyway, I'll pass it on to KB9BIP. Good morning to you. This is K9GU. Have a good day.
Thank you, Michelle. KB9DIP, Larry, Algonquin, Illinois. Michelle, you're always on mic. I like that. You're always intelligible. You're never off mic. You're always on mic. And good, clear signal. Voice audio, I mean. And Rick Sturgeon, yeah, you're doing security this year, aren't you? Trying to keep those octogenarians away from the sailors? I thought you were involved in that detail this year up there. And let's see, what else I got? Special weather statement. Slippery stretches on roads this morning. Frost on road surfaces created slip spots in area roads. However, as temperature rises above freezing, Dalek will disappear. And it's for Brown and Door and a whole mess of other Wisconsin town Manitowoc going further south. Anyway, I managed to get my Christmas decorations up yesterday, avoided all the angst of putting it off and putting it off. It got nice and warm yesterday in the 40s, or low 40s, so I put it up. And although it's all up, there's nothing that looks dumber than lights, Christmas decorations with no snow. Did you ever notice that? And beavers? Yeah, I saw beavers. They were off the Chain Lakes. Illinois, well, it's close enough to Wisconsin. The Chain Lakes are in northern Illinois, northeastern Illinois. And, yeah, I saw beaver. They're huge. I thought it was what do I know? I thought it was a groundhog, but, I was scared, actually. But then I saw that a big flat tail, and as far as I know, there's only two things with a big flat tail, and I think one of them is, the other one is a platypus. And I don't think they get down this far or over this far. So that was my contribution. All right, Father Christmas, it's your turn. KB9 DIP over to our Alan buddy in the UK. T1A, EU.
Gravel roads, and one of the places were dammed up was a creek with a beaver dam. So that's our experience with that element. But that was many, many years ago, and but I can almost picture what it did look like as we went over it. So that was a remembrance. Other than that, just working Fox Tango 4 and into Europe. Kilo Alpha Diner, Bravo X-Ray Golf. This is Kilo Alpha Diner, Whiskey Alpha Romeo. Good morning, Bob.
Well, good morning, everyone. And Joan, I think you bought him a drill and impact set. every day give him a new tool. Those are always great to get, and I'm real pathetic about all my tools. So anyways, that's about it with that. Was a nice day yesterday. I worked a lot outside. I was cleaning up wood piles, organizing things, cutting a whole bunch of wood, firewood, stacking it. Threw a skid pole down in the basement here and packed that this morning. So today is Christmas tree lights. Working on those. Putting them outside. Seen an interesting video on testing Christmas tree lights. Where they got two separate systems in one string, and how to find a dead bulb. And they said, plain and simple, you can plug it in either way, but if you plug it in one way, you can go with a test light, and two of the leads will have power, and you keep going down until you don't have that power on the second string. And try reversing the plug and see if it's the right one, and you can tell which bulb is bad. Look it up on YouTube. Kind of interesting and very simple. I did find one. Now I just got to find a bulb to replace it with. So, a few things going on today. Might head into town, need some gas for all the equipment here. And Betty goes to exercise class. Oh, today is Wednesday. Yeah. She goes to exercise class today. She's been doing that for quite a while, and she really likes it. Otherwise, that's about it. Bruce, over to you. Have a good one. K9BXG.
Bob, W9UUB. Okay, question of the day, beavers. I have never seen one. Is not in captivity. Is migrating in Midwestern West. And porcupines, mortal enemy. Spent close to $1,000 on vet bills during the time I had dogs, and they better steer clear of me even today. And the Machiavellian Henry Kissinger died. An adjective that probably fit him well. We'll go there. And that's kind of about it. Chris is off to an appointment. We're doing 3 days of Chris today. Day 3, it was her birthday yesterday, and I did take her on back with half of it, so we got today covered. That is about it. Black collar hunting today, maybe go hunting, maybe not. I have to think about that. Over to Larry, N9 OSF, W9UUB. Good morning, Larry. K9TCC returning. And hopefully I'm getting into the system okay. I don't usually do RRF out of Splitsville, but it looks like a pretty decent signal this morning. Well, one of our neighbors up in Townsend, northern O'Connell County, used to be employed by the county to pick up roadkill deer, and he had to keep the hides. There's some place in Green Bay where you take the hides and they make gloves, and I think he sold the gloves. Actually, that's how he subsidized it. Maybe call it a hobby or not, but that's what he used to do. And tools, Bob, boy, I'm right with you. My budget when I was my first job out of college was as a motorcycle mechanic, and my budget consisted of 3 entities: rent, food, and tools. That was it. I remember even as a little kid when I get tools, I'd be so excited. And when I would get clothes, I'd have to really take my excitement. And there's some interesting things going on in the sun today. Basically, there's 3 coronal mass ejections that are on the way to Earth, and then a 4th massive one is going to catch up, and they're all going to coincide tonight, so there should be some good northern lights. Beavers, we had many of them up in the mountains, and they're attracted to the sound of running water, and that motivates them to chop down or chew down trees, so we can lose trees in our backyard. The beavers really big thing. Lastly, my lovely bride, Carol, because her birthday is December 17th. Over to you, John. 89NN, K89TQC.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Good morning, that's John. 89NN, Northwest Florida, Michigan. Straight out of Oklahoma. I'm the receiver this morning. And these questions right away. I don't think I've ever seen a visitor in a while, although I have seen lots of muskrats locally, and have done some pretty good wildlife photography of them. And when the muskrats are in the water, they're kind of hard to tell the difference between the beaver and the muskrat, as they're just swimming along with their noses and eyes up. But I got used to that as I went along. What the temperature is really 37.3 degrees with a south-southeast wind at 4.7 miles an hour, which is interesting because on the radar the clouds are moving from the west to the east, so a little different direction of upper versus lower level wind. So this was the next 7.1, and boy, last night after the density signature radio, and that's better known as the muskrat, that's our weekly wind and density observer, is a little bit between them and RTL-SDR radio down. Oh my gosh, the radio station and meters were just moving in excessively the number of strong signals on the water and all of them. A lot of somebody to consider those. Not much going on today. It's taken daily time, and how we're going to do it with organizing and getting back into reading my book, and I think we also have a recorded sitcom that we can watch. I think that NCI has some down nowadays, so that might be interesting. With that, it's over to Broccoli, K89, Alan, the crew for K89, and John, have a great day, everybody.
summer. That would have been a perfect one. Bruce, love and road, not quite 0 February in the opinion column regarding you will be on your side of the argument. Jack, good luck with the 17 days. Carol is hard enough coming up with 12. Also the first year it's been easy. And then the service announcement, a hardware has gift card at RECIEVING because spend $60 and get a $10 card free. You can't tell me that's a 20% discount on your purchase. So buy it for yourself. And now, let's pause for any new check-ins. Anyone out there?
Thank you, Michelle. Nothing to, I do the debate of the century tonight on Fox. I think it's 8:30 Central Time. DeSantis versus Newsom. Boy, that ought to be good, huh? That ought to be good. Amateur here. So, you know, when I lived in California, it wasn't so bad, but man, I don't know. Anyway, that's all I got from here. And Alan, what have you got out there in the UK? You got anything good coming up so we can tune in on Sky, or is that a lost cause too? G90IP to G1AEU. I say, some people think because I come over there. And so we don't have any demon around here because we're on the coast, you see, but it's going down Mall on the Southern River, a part of the river, and the people build that down out there. But this area is much too close to the sea. But we just our common station, we have dolphins and the occasional whales. Anyway, over to you, darling. I'm not ready. Okay. 59 missing out of the road, so one out there and go to
I'll pop in here, and thank you, Alan. And we almost thought you were having whales and porpoises in your neighborhood. That would be quite extraordinary. But let's see if there's any other comments from anyone, anywhere.
K9TQC. Colin Zulu with a question for TQC.
Convenient. Tom, why don't you go first, ask your question, and then Jack. Sorry to flip the order, but, why not? Go ahead.
BC9LN Zulu TQC, were you able to get the stuff started yesterday after the net?
Yeah, thanks, Joan. That's a good idea. K9TQC. As it turns out, the amateur radio news line worked fine. I did trigger it from here, played it through the node to the node in Sturgeon Bay, which meant it did go out over echo link, but I think everybody was disconnected, but it was about maybe 10 minutes after the net that I played it. And the ARRL news was not there, and I suspect that may have had something to do with last week being Thanksgiving, and the news there's maybe no file to download because the news line worked fine, the ARRL did not. So I don't think there's an issue with software unless somebody mislabeled the file, which is, I've seen that happen before because the computer's looking very specifically for a particular file, and if they rename it or somebody leaves a character off, then it won't find it. So my comment was going to be, Joan, that we used to, when I lived up in Townsend, which at the time was a population of 500 people in the middle of the Nicolet National Forest, there were, I think, way more beavers than people in that area. And the DNR used to go out and they would dynamite beaver dams. I remember one time I was out hiking in the woods, and the whole woods had about 3 inches of water in it. It was like flooded. And I think that was they were trying to control beaver dams because there's a constant battle between sort of people who like to, correct word, trap for pelts and stuff, which used to be pretty common up there, maybe not so much anymore, and the trout fishermen who wanted the free-flowing rivers for the trout. So the beaver were listening to the ripples and dropping trees and damming up the trout streams and turning the forest into a lake. And the trout fishermen and the DNR kind of joined forces, which is interesting in itself. And they would blow up the beaver dams and try to restore the streams to free flowing and get rid of the lake. So that was the world of the northern Wisconsin in the 80s. Back to you, BC9 KMA, K9TQC.
Well, I'll tell you, Jack, watching my Alaskan shows on television, a fair number of them use pelts as their cash crop, and so we've watched them snare various beaver through, and they know how to insert the trap into the beaver dam, et cetera, the lodge, whatever it's called. But my girlfriend had a beaver coat that was from the flapper days. I can't remember what decade that would precisely be. But, oh my gosh, this thing weighed 80 pounds. I mean, it was probably 30 pounds. So I can well imagine if one were in an open buggy, and John Enigal would tell us what car that was, that this would be the ideal coat. But if you wore it for 10 minutes and got in a heated car or, anywhere else, you were dying. You were just hot as can be. So that's my beaver pelt story. Well, thank you all. I know you are waiting with bated breath to see what gift number 1 will be tomorrow. And I think it's going to be a lottery. So pick the number and the box will be presented. I haven't decided. All right. So last call for comments or check-ins or jib jabs. Anybody have any jib jabs?
9 UPE comment.
Get chat.
Suspect a spurious transmission, and then I'll let you do it once, but I have to call you out because I give NN grief for it. Go ahead, Brad.
I'm sorry I had to leave the shack for a while. I was listening out today, but I didn't hear Bob's transmission, and I just wanted to shout out a thank you message to Jack, KA19QC, as we were asked to convey that message to him from Ed, W9JE. The information you gave him, he was successful getting this out properly. 89 UPE, clear.
I suspect we could slide that in under priority traffic. Whatever. Anyway, thank you, Brad, and I'm sure Jack appreciates the thanks. I don't know if Jack was on the air when I said thank you to the officers currently serving, and in particular to the next crowd signing up. 3 of the 4 have already served a term, and it's a pretty big deal to take that on. So one last call for any comments anywhere. Check in. I didn't get the call. Please say it again. So, Ellen, sorry about that. I just got the tail end of the U coming over RF here, and I wasn't looking at the board or I've seen you. Anyhow, and let me just say this privately to you, Ellen, so I assume maybe you were in church on Sunday. In England, at the Anglican Church, do they on and off with Berettas during the Christ the King celebration? It was my first exposure to that on Sunday. Over to you, Alan.
Well, there you. Well, as far as I know, the Anglican Church does many things. They is a high and a low version. A high version is Roman like Roman Catholic, and the low version is very popular, rather like a Methodist. And each church does its own thing. So there's always a lot of falling out, and so the history of it all is very full, really, because I don't go into it. There's far too much to say, but everybody goes where they feel happier, I suppose. That is that. So, I don't go to the Anglican Church. I don't go there, no. What I was going to say when I put in my comment is I am surprised that with the English and the French and any people have left in America after they got kosher and in the past before America became independent, they voted their private state out, I think. Not anyway. But when they
rodent, in that it's a litter, and so there's a plentiful supply. What we think is interesting here, we have mice, thankfully not rats that we've ever seen, raccoons, maybe we've seen a possum, but only one or two, and then woodchucks. And a woodchuck is not unattractive. Oh, and a mink, I guess we've seen one. But they seem to ebb and flow in their population, and we think it's the coyotes and the foxes getting them. But the reason we are unhappy about woodchucks is that they will tunnel into the septic system and damage the piping, and so it can be thousands of dollars to repair damage done by these things. And so if you're a fisherman up in the woods, I can imagine you are unhappy about the beaver dam. Dynamite seems a bit excessive, but then again, if you're blowing up trees, I guess that's what you have to do, Jack. So here we are at 10 to 9 nearly. It's time to bring the Good Morning net to a close. Thank you, everybody, participating and listening and commenting. And we encourage you to get a license. If you are interested in making legal transmissions, there's a way to do it. We hope you will. So that's all for today. Final call for the last word. Everybody have a great day. Sun shining, 40 degrees. It's 34 degrees. Not exactly 40 yet, but have a good day. KC9, KMA is clear. W9UUB, KC9, KMA.
Morning, Jones.
Love this Ben Rhodes editorial. He, to me, bluntly, clearly tells the unvarnished summary of the achievements and lack of the exploits, or whatever we call them, of Mr. Kissinger.
I often read the Times when the net is going on, so I was already there. I think I read a couple others, too. Yeah, having been of that era, having been in East Asia, it seemed to me his negotiations to the end of the war were just, they were ridiculous. I mean, and he wasn't a good negotiator. He gave up everything. I don't know that we had anything to negotiate, but you knew 3 years before the end that the end was coming and South Vietnam was not going to survive, and he kept pretending that he was negotiating some future existence. Crazy.
Well, and I think all of the substance of the article talks about, the continuing tragedy, the number of lives lost and the bombs that are still there unexploded hurting people. I mean, it's just sad how we have meddled, and we've meddled with, as the title says, hypocrisy. It's just a sad thing. But hey, on the third day of Chris, what can I say? Where'd you go? What'd you get?
We went out for a little bit of happy hour and then went to a restaurant in Kiwani, and she had meatloaf, which is just huge, and I had stirred vegetables, and no crowd, ran into a few people we knew there, and all in all it was a pleasant evening. We keep debating our travel plans, so we oftentimes have that be the topic of conversation, and I think we're on the same page. But a lot of it has to do with a classmate of hers who has a winter home in Florida, northern Florida, and so we might go and see it. So the $10 question often becomes, are we going to drive or are we going to fly?
That is a hugely interesting question, because if you're going person who had to drive to Mississippi to visit my parents, you just about guarantee freezing rain one of the two trips for at least an hour. Now, that may not be true any other day but the Christmas holiday, but man, every trip, you took your life in your hands. And I was broke then, so this was challenging. And finally, one of the trips, somewhere in maybe central southern Illinois, the ice was so bad that truckers were pulling off. And I actually coughed up the cash and stayed in a motel. It was just literally, even for me, the weenie, it was, the truckers are coming off, that's all I need to know.
I ran into a similar situation. Actually, the state closes the interstate, but I was coming back from Flagstaff in April, and there was a spring storm, which happens in New Mexico more often than you'd think. They closed the interstate east of Albuquerque, and that was something else. We had a plan B that worked out pretty good, but in any case, it was closed for, I don't know if it was a whole day, but it was at least 8 to 12 hours where they just kind of kept things organized. I think I ran into somebody recently that said Atlanta, I tend to crown Atlanta as the worst city in the world for driving. And I think it beats Phoenix in my mind, which maybe is number 2. And everybody says drive on Sunday, and I haven't adhered to that as much as I should, but I'm sure Jack's got an opinion on that. But I think that would make it a lot easier, and if I do it, I certainly adhere to that.
If he's there, over to Jack.
Well, just having spent 2 weeks in Florida fixing stuff, I got to say the 3-hour flight, even though it was from Madison, it was only $57. So my gosh, that's like a tank of gas compared to last year when I was down with my truck doing hurricane cleanup, where I actually did drive the truck down. And there's a long drive, but Atlanta is to be avoided. Nashville is a little challenging. Of course, the mountains of Tennessee is where you don't want to hit the freezing rain, but what we've sort of morphed into is making an adventure out of it. Like last time when we came up here, we came up through Alabama, avoiding Atlanta, got to find my grandparents' ancestral home and whatnot. So, and I'd much rather drive through Illinois than Indiana, for sure. That's much more pleasant. But Bruce, if you get yourself to Florida and you have a car, by all means, venture a little further south we can accommodate you.
Jack, yeah, you're certainly on the list. I've got some friends in Sanford to see, my friends in Crystal River, and of course Jack and Carol. Then the issue if you fly down is renting a car, and I've looked at that. That's not prohibited. That wouldn't be an issue. But check baggage. If I go, my thinking is I'll be there 10 days. It's one of those things where I'm not going to go down there for 5. If I'm there, I'm there. And as you said, the adventure oftentimes is part of the fun. The last trip that we took to Cumberland for that woodworking convention, we diddled around on state highways quite a bit, stopped at little towns and rubbernecked. So if I made it a 4-day trip to Florida, that would be fine with me. Over to you, Joe.
Guys, I'm giving Jeff out the door instructions to don't forget to buy Ace Hardware coupon. So we'll talk to you guys later. KC9 Camry, it's Cliff.
Okay, Joan, very good. You have a good one. And yeah, that really, once you get south of Illinois, even in the wintertime, it's not that bad. It can be. There's obviously events that you have to kind of keep an eye on, but it becomes much more pleasant, much less wintry.
Chris is a great researcher on trips like that. If you take one, she's going to have a notebook with 50 little activities along the way, like the Onion Festival in Macon, Georgia, or things along that line. So, yeah, it could happen. I'm hoping it will happen. And that's about
final.
Okay, Bruce, and as a culinary guy, and Carol's not within earshot, or she would be able to provide the details, but in northern Alabama, there's a place that makes, like, pretty famous, famously makes cast iron cookware, and there's a factory outlet. We stopped last time, and she picked up all kinds of cookware, so I forget the name of the town. It's right at the very northern edge, northeastern corner, near Bridgeport, Alabama, but you may even see Bridgeport, but they, it's a very well-known name if you're into the world of cooking, and I am not, so I apologetically defer, but that would be, if you're interested, that would be a stop that you might enjoy.
Might be the home of Lodge Cookware, and if that is the case, we were there. I think we picked up a pizza thing, and I'm not sure we used it much, but anyway, yeah, it's kind of the mecca of cast iron cookware.
That's it. That's exactly it. Okay, let's run, but boy, it would be great to see you down there. This year, we got everything is more or less resurrected. My last act on the day before Thanksgiving was getting an awning replaced that got destroyed during hurricane, so we're officially back in business and would welcome you. So keep that in the back of your mind and safe travels, and we'll look for you in the net for the next few days. W9UUB 73 K9TQC.
73 Jack, W9.